Welcome, Suns fans, to another edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. I'm your host, John, and I'm joined as per usual by my partner in crime, the master of the microphone, Mr. Matthew Lissy. Matthew, how you doing this evening, my man?
Doing great. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. We were going to do this at the end of Game 1 of the NBA Finals, so it'd be a natural transition for listeners to finish watching the NBA Finals and then go ahead and kind of ease right into the Suns Jam Session podcast. We're not doing that. We're doing that at the end of the third quarter because the Lakers are fucking killing the Heat right now. I don't even know what the score is. 90-something to 60-something. Not a good sign for the Heat.
Yeah, it's usually this is how like game ones go. I feel like, it's kind of a blowout. I don't read too much in game one. So whatever happens to this, I saw Bam Adebayo go out. So I don't know if he's hurt or whatever, but besides that, I mean, it's a typical game one. So I think we'll see the best out of both teams. I mean, the Miami Heat next game. But did you see this happening in game one or no?
I kind of did. As I was watching the beginning of the game, they were showing LeBron James. This is his 50th NBA Finals game. Seeing that it's Jimmy Butler's first game in the NBA Finals. Goran Dragic.
Yeah.
I can never say his fucking name right. It was his first game in NBA Finals. So I figured all the experience that the Miami Heat were going up against was going to probably hit him in that first game where LeBron's coming out, just guns a-blazing and has this team ready to go. And, you're getting that result that I kind of expected. And sure enough, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening, dude. And I don't know. A lot of the Suns fans are pretty upset, but I think LeBron's just going to get his title pretty easy. But we'll see, man. I mean, the Heat are one of those teams that you just can't count out. A lot of the teams in the bubble you couldn't count out. So it might go to 7 games, even though this game one's a blowout.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, and it's one of those games where, you see Bam Adebayo might go out. Well, he might go out just because, this game's kind of in the can. Yeah. Let's just save the energy for the next game. So
exactly.
So we'll see how it goes. Again, this is the Suns Jam Session podcast. We're here to talk about the Suns. For those of you who are listening to us for the first time, whether it's on podcast or you're following us on the live stream, make sure you subscribe. Pound that subscribe button, ring that bell so you get all those subscriptions whenever they pop up. Every time we go live, you're going to get it on YouTube. If you're listening via the Bright Side of the Sun podcast network, please press the subscribe button. Make sure you follow the show at Suns Jam on both Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida, and you can follow Matthew on Twitter.
I'm Matthew Lissy.
That's correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop open a beer because that's what I do when I like to talk about the Suns. So I'm having a nice Dos Equis. Oh yeah, pop top.
Brew house.
Oh, that tastes good. Let's talk Suns, huh, Matthew?
Let's do it.
So, Matthew, the title of this episode is Suns in the Finals. And I don't want to deke anybody out. I think we're all educated to realize that the Suns aren't in the finals. But there's plenty of ties to the NBA Finals when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. You take a look around and you look at some of the players. Derek Jones Jr., Airplane Mo Jones is making his first Finals appearance, as is Goran Dragic. There you go.
Just call him D-Man. Just hey, what's up, D-Man?
I don't know how D-Man, for being a Suns fan for over 30 years, I can just never get his name right. It's like halfway through it, I lose confidence in myself. And then you have, of course, Markieff Morris as well. So I thought that one thing that was kind of fun for those of you who are avid readers of the Bright Side of the Sun .com, that's where we have articles that we write. And one of the questions that was posted this week by Dave King, who's our managing editor, was some thoughts on our connections to the NBA Finals from the Suns. And I would just, we went through. So those of you who've read it, this isn't anything that's, kind of a surprise what our answers are going to be, but we can give a little bit more in-depth answers. What's your first thought on, what's your take on Goran making an all-star and starting in the NBA Finals after the trade from the Suns?
Well, I kind of forget my answers already that I wrote down for Bright Side of the Sun. But honestly, he's the guy you can always root for, right? I mean, he's always going to be a favorite. He left kind of in a tough way, a way where he, kind of despised Phoenix in a way. But I feel like us as fans still love Dragic. We're going to root for him on any team he's on. Even if maybe he's a Laker, who knows, but maybe not. But honestly, I love it. I love that he's going to be in the finals this year, and he's probably going to get paid some big bucks in the offseason to be a starter next season for a team. So, dude, I mean, I know you love the guy. He was your favorite out of the three-headed monster point guard program we had here in Phoenix. Even though I chose Eric Bledsoe over Dragic, I regret that a lot, and I'm going to live with that forever for the rest of my life.
Yes, you are.
But honestly, dude, I love seeing Dragic there because he's getting a lot of playing time too, especially like Dudley. He's not going to be playing a lot. He's probably won't even play at all. But you can watch Dragic like play at least 40 minutes in these games.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one who's actually getting a start of the guys that we mentioned, plus Jared Dudley. I didn't even mention him before. Yeah, seeing Dragic.
You did it.
Dragic. See, I don't know why you just don't help me out there.
We'll just edit this out.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, we're live. This ain't happening. But seeing Goran play for the Miami Heat is bittersweet. Absolutely. I mean, he was a fan favorite here. He was kind of that link between Steve Nash Suns and kind of what the next iteration of the Suns was going to be. And unfortunately, Ryan McDonough stacked the deck with the 3-point guard system, including Eric Bledsoe and Isaiah Thomas. And didn't handle it well. Shocking, that Ryan McD didn't handle something well. And it's kind of frustrating in hindsight to go back and see that he's the one who kind of got away. But in the same token, you have to be happy for him and what he's done in rebuilding that Heat program, because he essentially was traded to the Heat, and then LeBron left, and they were kind of a franchise in turmoil, and he's been a part of their reconstruction. And now you're seeing them kind of march through the NBA bubble to the NBA Finals. So he's somebody who I definitely cheer for. I think that, if you're a Suns fan, you're cheering for Goran. I don't know if it's necessarily true with some of the other players that are former Suns out there. But I think there's one thing that we disagree on is, the fact that he is going to be, I think he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. I don't see him, making this payday that you keep kind of referencing. I mean, the guy is how old now? He's 34. Almost.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can see him getting paid. I don't see it being like a massive payday per se.
Oh, there's a team out there. There is a team out there that's going to pay Dragic. I know it's going to happen. There's just something to do with this bubble and these players that are just popping out of the bubble. Because honestly, before the Miami run, a lot of teams, a lot of fans really didn't even know Dragic really played for the Miami Heat, unless you're watching the Heat. Like, he kind of popped out of nowhere. He came back into our lives. And I think a lot of teams are going to see that to where he can still run a system. I'm not going to say he's on a championship team next year, but there's going to be a team, I feel like, that will give him some money to start. And it might just be like, maybe he can fight for the role. Maybe he can fight with another point guard that is starting for that team, to where he can go into camp and maybe take the battle head on and win that battle and become the point guard. That's what I'm saying. I think he'll get paid. I think he'll get overpaid, obviously, but I can see him being a starter, definitely.
So you're saying a team out there that's not a championship contender is probably going to overpay for him, as we see happen to a lot of players who end up on a finals team. Shout out to Miss Angela 211 in the chat. Dragic. Am I saying it right? Dragic. Thank you for trying to help me with my enunciation. I can't get it right. So what does we're seeing, what are your thoughts kind of on Jared Dudley being a part of the Lakers and Airplane Mode Jones? Again, two more people who have connections to the Phoenix Suns. What are your thoughts on them? This is Jared Dudley's first NBA Finals too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so. And honestly, like I said earlier, he's not going to be playing a lot, but he plays a big role on the bench. The thing I was thinking the other night, I was like, so he's a mentor. He's a great guy in the locker room, but you think he's just better on a team that has the experience, that has the superstars. He can be a mentor to the younger guys that don't get enough time playing. Like, he's not going to develop these players to be any better. I don't feel like. Maybe he's just someone that they can talk to, ask for advice, but I don't think he's somebody that, like, when he was here in Phoenix, the young guys would just, what I've heard, would just party with him. Like, I don't know, you don't have to believe this, but would just go party with him, just someone to hang out with. It wasn't really someone that's coachable, someone that would actually, you go to for advice on the court when he was here in Phoenix. But I feel like with the Lakers, he is that guy. And I love to see that with him. And I think Airplane Mode Jones, I don't think he's going to get a lot of time to play. I feel like we saw him today. He didn't look too great on the court, but I don't think he's going to be a valuable asset for the Miami Heat in the series. But it's great to see these guys come back. I mean, I feel like every finals from now on, we're going to see some guys from Phoenix, and it's fun because it gives you a little bit more of a reason to watch the game.
Well, that's because in one of these finals, it's going to be nothing but Phoenix players. It's going to be a bunch of Phoenix Suns out there competing for a championship, hopefully. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But seeing Duds on the sideline, it's unfortunate because that's all he's going to be in his advanced age. Unlike Goran, he doesn't have the basketball skill set left to be an effective player unless it's he might get some minutes tonight, considering that the Lakers are just blowing him the fuck out. But I think that, having him there, again, it's just another one of those good Phoenix guys. I like seeing the Phoenix guys out there who were positive impacts on our teams, make positive impacts on teams moving forward. It just, again, it's always bittersweet because you're like, you know what? We could have held on to him. We could have, kept him a part of this culture and part of this winning. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. The Suns are in a good place, I feel, going into the 2021 season. And, seeing these guys, it just it makes me smile a little bit. Not all of them, but most of them.
3/4 of them.
Yeah, 3/4 of them.
Yeah.
So another question that we responded to on brightsideofthesun.com was, does Tyler Herro have the potential to reach Booker levels in 3 to 4 years? I know we've discussed this a little bit on the podcast in the past, but for those of you who are listening for the first time or watching on the live stream for the first time, Matthew, why don't you walk us through kind of your point of view on that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy I fell in love with. That's something I said before, but honestly, I think that the system he's playing in now, he's already in the championship. He's playing for a title already. So, of course, that's something Booker is not used to. When he started playing with the Phoenix Suns, we were nothing, and now we're almost kind of something. So that's a little bit different than what Tyler Herro is going through right now. But honestly, I think Tyler Herro could still develop his game in the system just because the Heat are full of trust. So if this team stays together and they still have the same guys on the team, I think, honestly, he can still learn the same way Booker did and can develop his game just like Booker did. And I think he has a lot of the same qualities, too, as well. What is really underrated with Tyler Herro is he's a good playmaker, I feel like. He can get to the spots on the floor he wants to, plays tough, thinks he's the biggest, baddest ass on the floor, which he is at sometimes. Sometimes he is. And once again, with Instagram, he's a big booty loving guy. So, I mean, I think him and Booker have a lot in common. And 3 and 4 years, he might be, I'm not going to say he's better than Booker, because Booker, when I think of it, NBA players, you kind of know who they are in 3 years. I've always thought that. Booker, I feel like we still don't know. Going into his 6th year, he might be even better than he was last year. So I just don't know Booker's ceiling yet. But once he gets there, then maybe we can feel it out and see where Tyler Herro is and see if he can get there or not.
No, I completely agree. I mean, the guy, he can score all day, and he has the, if you're talking about Booker levels from a scoring standpoint, Tyler Herro is well on his way. He's somebody who thoroughly wants to emulate Devin Booker. He's a, Kentucky Wildcat. That's his hero. He's somebody who, it's Herro's hero, and he's somebody who he wants to emulate offensively. He's taller. He's a better rebounder than he is, but he is also a product of his environment, just as Devin Booker is a product of his environment. Devin Booker was essentially given the keys to the franchise in his 2nd year and said, drive us home, get us to the playoffs, take us to the promised land. Whereas Tyler Herro doesn't have to struggle with that. So being a victim of circumstance, if you will, he's going to have an opportunity to reach different types of levels than Devin Booker does. I don't know. Devin Booker's game is probably going to be more complete due to the circumstances he's been in. Whereas Tyler Herro, he's going to continue to kind of be a specialist, be a good rebounder. And he's going to be somebody who I think that the Heat are going to enjoy playing for, having played for them for a long time, but he might not have to reach Devin Booker levels. He might not have to be that alpha dog on that team because of the system, because of the culture that's been in place there.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, man. And honestly, it'd be funny too, because it's really cool to have a player on our team like Devin Booker where someone looks up to him like Tyler Herro does. I just love that.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from this is someone idolized him coming out of Kentucky. So that's the biggest takeaway for me.
I like what Raymond Gonzalez said in the YouTube chat. Put Herro next to Booker, backcourt 2021. Let's make that happen. That'd be
amazing.
Sick.
But then we get a lot of point book. Do you want that? Do you want point book? Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind.
That's something I want to talk
Nowadays.
about a little bit later. But
Okay.
but I'm with you there. It's like I don't know if I'd mind it, but I'm not as against it as I used to be. Teaser. I don't know.
Yeah.
The third topic that we talked about on the Suns' connections to the NBA Finals on the brightsideofthesun.com was, do you still miss that 2021 Miami pick given up in the Mikal Bridges trade?
No, I actually don't. And at the time when it was traded, I'm like, come on, you can't really read too much into the future. And I think it was the point where I was just sick of picks. I'm sick of draft picks. We were getting Ayton. This is like the last year I want to have any kind of future picks and future first round picks. I don't care. I want to start getting free agents in here. I want superstars, all this and that. I mean, I want a lot in life. But anyways, I honestly think that when the pick was traded, there was a big hoorah, hoo-ha, whatever from like KOC, from Bill Simmons, from The Ringer. A lot of people were just so up in arms about it. And honestly, I thought it doesn't really matter because I know there's a lot of the talent that might have been coming out of high school by next year, which might still happen. I'm not sure how that's going or not, but you just can't really read into the future. If you can get a better asset of it right now, which they did, you got Mikal Bridges, and I'm not missing it. Are you missing it at all?
No, and but you do bring up a good point. The one thing that's always mentioned when you talk about the 2021 pick that the Suns ultimately gave up was the fact that this was going to be the draft where high school players could come straight from high school back into the NBA. So, it's almost going to be like a double draft, whereas the 2020 draft isn't highly touted for the talent that's in there. The 2021 draft not only was going to have the one and doneers from this season, they're also going to have an influx of high school talent coming in as well. So when the Suns first traded away that pick in an effort to get Mikal Bridges, everybody was like, "Oh, well, how could you? That's not a great pick to give up." Now, granted, that was the Miami pick that we got for Goran Dragic like years before, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone was kind of up in arms in it. I don't miss it at all because now it's not worth a shit. I mean, I wasn't up in arms when it occurred because it got me Mikal Bridges. I liked Mikal Bridges coming out of the draft. The fact that we not only got DeAndre Ayton, then we got Mikal Bridges at the number 10 pick in the same draft was fantastic. It was like the anti-2006 draft or 16 draft where we got Bender and Chris. I'm like, hold on, we just got two really talented guys in. We didn't have to give up too much to get them. So I didn't think that it was something that was necessarily needed moving forward. I didn't want to live on draft picks. I didn't want to have to sit there and be like, ooh, the Miami 2021 pick, that could be the one that makes or breaks the franchise. That's what you have that asset for, is to move it.
Yeah, and I will defend the Suns always with any move they make, whether it's bad or good. So at the time it sucked, but really quick, just a quick question. Who'd you rather have? Because I know that night we were kind of rooting for Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
Remember we were rooting, maybe we can get him, save him for a year, he can come back.
Yep.
Would you rather have Porter Jr. or would you have who we have now, Mikal?
I think that me and I like defense. And I like Michael Porter Jr. Yeah. He's going to be one of those great offensive stars if he stays healthy in years to come, in about 6 years, okay? Because it's generally when players start to hit their 5th or 6th year that they really start to develop, and that's when you start to see the Steph Curry's really stepped into who he was. And I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be an all-star in about 5 or 6 years. But also at the same time, like Mikal Bridges is going to be an all-defensive player in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
He could be it next year. He could be it the following year, and I'm all for that. What about yourself?
You can't lose with either one. The only thing with Michael Porter Jr. is I think he's kind of he's shown it in press conferences where he's talking about, they should have given me the ball more, I should have shot more, stuff like that. It's like, I don't want that on my team. Mikal is so humble just about his team, like getting everybody involved. And I mean, you really can't lose with either guy, but yeah, definitely Mikal Bridges right now.
Yeah. So a couple things I want to bring up in the chat. Thank you for everyone who always joins us for the live streams. We truly appreciate it. Miss Angelina 211, they're both special when talking about Herro and Devin Booker. Completely agree. I mean, that's why we have to have these conversations at this point. I mean, the kid's a rookie and he's playing out of his mind, Jones doesn't want high school picks. Completely agree with that. Here's a question I gotta bring up as we talk about the NBA Finals. This was brought up by Steve Holler. Thanks for always joining us via YouTube, Steve Holler. Does this series start to make a case for the Suns trading for either LaMelo or Ben Simmons and signing Wood? Got to match up size and athleticism, essentially, with the Lakers. What do you think about that, Matthew?
So you're saying if we get LaMelo Ball, we got him in the lineup. He's taking over what Rubio's doing for the Suns, which is playing point guard. I don't know. That's tough, dude. Honestly, Ben Simmons, yes, of course. Signing Wood, yes, of course. LaMelo, I want LaMelo definitely, but I have a different plan for him where I want to play him at the 3. But honestly, you don't really have to worry too much about right now what's going on in the NBA Finals. You're seeing like a smaller team in the Miami Heat. They're doing great. Right now, you have great players on the Suns, and honestly, DeAndre Ayton's like the perfect center. We just need a 4 for the 3. I wanted LaMelo to play there, and honestly, Booker at the 2 or 3 is great. But honestly, I don't know. I would love the Ben Simmons thing going forward, which who knows if he's going to get traded or not. But what do you think? Like, out of those two, who would you rather have?
I'd take Ben Simmons because, again, I like defense. I mean, it's the thing I gotta tell you, Steve. Don't react to every NBA Finals and try to match it.
Yeah, don't.
Try to set your own path. That's too often the problem in this league. It becomes a copycat league, right? So you have for years, you have the Golden State Warriors just pouring in them with points to the point where the Rockets are like, listen, we're starting fucking PJ Tucker at center, 6'7". And then what's happening right now? Well, Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard started at the 4 and the 5 in the NBA Finals tonight, and they're they're winning with size. Now, there's other reasons why they're winning. There's experience there. There's different levels of talent. But you can't sit there and say, hey, you know what? I want this team to mirror this team in an effort to beat this team. No, the Suns have a very solid foundation right now. We got somebody who's going to be a fantastic center in the NBA. He's already, in my opinion, a top 5 center because the position itself is so fluid nowadays. You have Devin Booker, who's won a premier scorer. You're throwing in, Mikal Bridges, who's playing great defense. You got a top 10, potentially top 15 for sure, point guard and Ricky Rubio. So we have a really good foundation in our lineup. Now it's just a matter of trying to find what works best for us, how to make those pieces fit. I'd look more on the Miami side and say, hey, look at what they did in an effort to put themselves into the NBA Finals because of the talent that they had and how they perfected that system.
Exactly. They have the right attitude. But you want to know why the Lakers are winning? They have 2 of the top 3 best players in the NBA right now. So that's basically it.
Which Matthew's been saying literally all season.
Yes.
So, all right. The next thing I want to talk about is the Jumpman jerseys. Okay. So, Matthew, did you see that Twitter video that the Phoenix Suns put out on Monday insinuating a change from Nike to Jumpman? Did you see that?
Yeah, that's older though. And they actually just added the logo onto the jerseys. Did you know that? I heard it was older because I was like, why are these guys already together making a commercial for the next season when maybe some of them might not be on the team? It's because it's an older commercial that they just edited. I've never seen it before in my life.
Yeah, me neither. And all I know is when I first saw the video, I saw the logo. It was the first thing that I saw. And I was like, oh shit, Suns might finally have some new jerseys because I know we've changed our jerseys like 3 times in the last 7 years or whatever the hell it is. We had the Steve Nash era ones, then we went to those ones with the 3-headed point guard monster that I didn't really like, and then we kind of went to what we did now, and we're adding Statement and Edition and all these different kind of jerseys. But I'm not a big fan of our jerseys. I've said that before. I've written that article on Bright Side of the Sun when it's like, hey, would you prefer the Suns bring back a throwback or just redesign our jerseys altogether? And I'm more in the camp of, hey, let's just redesign our jerseys. I just think that there's so much more opportunity, especially given the uniqueness of our colors. And so when I first saw that, I got excited. I can't lie. I was super excited.
Yeah. No, it was cool. It was definitely very cool.
But then as everything was kind of being revealed, it was like, shit. I didn't realize, I haven't been paying too much attention. Speaking of shit, the Dodgers just gave up a 2-run home run. Fuck.
We just lost a bunch of listeners. the two we have, they're gone.
Sorry, I am a Dodgers fan and they are playing right now. But seeing as the Suns haven't, done what I felt that they needed to do from a design standpoint, I was excited, right? And then I realized that a week ago, the NBA had put out some statement saying that all teams will have a Statement Edition jersey that has the Jumpman logo on it, which is a subsidiary of Nike. And I guess the question I have for you, Matthew, is should they?
I mean, why not? I mean, does it help? I don't understand this whole thing with the Jumpman thing. I really don't.
You don't?
I mean, like, it makes more sense because I know, like, you talk about sometimes the Michigan Wolverines, the football team, they have the Jumpman on their jerseys, but they're a football team, so it doesn't really make sense. It's very funny, but I mean, is this really a big deal? I don't even really know what to think about it. I can honestly care less. Is that weird?
That's fine, and that's why I wrote the article on Brightside. I said, do you care? Do you not care? Or do you think they should keep they should be okay with the Jumpman? Should we not be okay with the Jumpman? Or who cares? Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the basis of the article I put out there. And I think just kind of the basis of my argument is the fact that we lost to Michael Jordan.
Yeah, everyone did though.
Yeah, so I mean, but there's specific franchises who should kind of be hurt by that. If you look at the results on Bright Side of the Sun, on what people thought, I'm clicking it. It's not fucking working, of course. There we go. 40% said who cares. So I'm in the minority here. But I just think it's weird to like look at like the Detroit Pistons, a team that like created the Jordan rules and did everything they can to beat Michael Jordan, have to like wear jerseys with his logo on it. I don't know. I think it's I think it's odd.
It's very strange, but I mean, he beat every team in the NBA. I mean, a lot of people went through a lot, but he's more than just what the basketball player is now. He's a multi-billionaire. He can do whatever the hell he wants. I mean, pretty soon we'll all be wearing Jordan stuff, I feel like, in the NBA before too long, right? It just kind of makes sense. So I feel like this is just another step forward towards that, maybe. Maybe.
I don't know. Every time they wear those orange jerseys, I have to think of Michael Jordan now, and it'll always just take me back to 1993.
Yeah,
now,
it does.
Yeah,
no, it hurts you more than me, just because like I was a little bit younger, so I don't remember that. So
exactly,
honestly, no, you're totally right, and I'm kind of missing the point. If it did hurt me, I mean, it does because the Suns lost, but I wasn't really there.
You didn't feel it.
4 or 5 years old at the time, so it's not a big deal to me. But for you, it makes sense. It makes sense for a lot of people for it to be very upsetting. So my apologies. I'm on your side, buddy.
Thank you. Like I was just making sure I wasn't crazy. I'm like, no, really? I mean, like now, granted, you don't like the orange jerseys to begin with, right?
No, absolutely not. Every time they zoom in on the sun in the middle, it's like it's this big. It's like this tiny.
It's tiny.
Yeah, it is so tiny, dude. Littlest sun ever.
Yeah,
but
now I don't like them because I always kind of like the jerseys. Now they have the little Jumpman. It's like every time I see the Suns playing those orange jerseys, I'll be like, oh, 93. Fuck you.
Just redo the whole thing. I know we're getting a new court design to go with the new stadium, the new arena look and all that. So that's going to be awesome. So I'm sure they're going to have a new look for jerseys coming up. They did release something. Didn't they say something on Twitter saying like, be patient?
Yes.
Yes. So somebody
was commenting about the jerseys and there's like, and Suns responded, be patient. And I was like, okay, we know that they're going to unveil a new court with the new arena renovation. Hopefully they bring back, do something with the jerseys. I'm just saying, like
they will. They're gonna be great. I feel like they're gonna be awesome.
I
got a good feeling, dude. I got a good feeling.
I hope so. Well, speaking of jerseys, the top selling jerseys in the NBA since the restart was released, and if you go through the top 15 most popular NBA jerseys, LeBron James number 1, Luka number 2, Anthony Davis number 3, Jason Tatum number 4, which really grinds my gears, ticks my bums, if you will. Giannis Antetokounmpo number 5, Steph Curry number 6, Durant number 7. The list goes on and on. No Phoenix Suns on there, even with the 8-0 start. Is that our fault as Suns fans for not going out and buying jerseys?
I don't know, because I'm too broke right now to really buy a jersey, so I feel bad. I mean, maybe I'll ask my mom or someone to buy me a jersey for the Phoenix Suns just to get these numbers up there. Because Devin Booker, I feel like out of any player that didn't make the list, he deserves it, right? I feel like if you're rocking a Booker jersey, I feel like it would be pretty awesome, whether you're a Suns fan or not. Maybe it's just a jersey look. So once we get those jersey redesigns, if we get something cool to wear, then people might start buying his jerseys that aren't even Suns fans.
Not another reason why not to like the whole Jumpman thing is it's the NBA's way to try to get us to buy a new jersey. It's literally the same jersey, and they just throw a little Michael Jordan thing on there. So me, as somebody who's actually a Jordan fan, I wear Jordans. You think I'd have an inkling to go buy Jordans now, and you know that there's going to be a ton of people who are like, "Hey, I'm going to go get that jersey because it has the Jordan Jumpman logo on it." It is disappointing that. that the Suns didn't make it. I fault myself as a Suns fan because I have a lot of jerseys. I have a ton of. I got a Nash up behind me. I got a Marion up behind me. I don't own a Booker jersey. And did you see the deals like the Suns were running as the bubble was getting ready to start? They were doing like 50% off all orange jerseys. Holy shit, it makes sense now.
Yeah, it makes sense now, right?
They did 50 one day. They did 50% off all Orange Crush jerseys or whatever the fuck they're called, the Statement Edition jerseys. Mm-hmm. In an effort to move the inventory because they put the Jumpman cheese.
That's it.
Just we figured it out.
There was like one jersey.
And I almost got a Booker one too. But I'm not going to ask your mom for a Booker jersey or anything. But you know what? My birthday's coming up here pretty quick.
If you asked her, she would definitely get you a birthday.
I know your mom's like the best.
Yeah, she would definitely. All right, hey mom, keep it down in the kitchen. All right. All
right. Well, if you're in the chat, you know why we're talking about this. If you have Suns jerseys, tell us what your favorite jersey is. Matthew, what's your favorite jersey that you own?
Right now? Oh, that's tough. Do I go do the Dak Prescott one? No, I'm just joking. No, I'm not going to do football at all. No, that's disgusting, right? No, my favorite one actually is the one hanging up behind me. That's not cardboard. That's actually a real jersey. Steve Nash during that era, I mean, those are both pretty ugly. Both colors, the white and the purple. But this one doesn't look too bad. There's just kind of a big stain on the front, so I can't wear it. So I fold it in half and use it as a backdrop. But that's definitely my favorite one. But besides that, dude, the one that I got, you actually got me for Christmas, was a Josh Jackson PHX, the one from last year.
2 years ago.
All black. Oh, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
All black. That was the best one. They stopped after, it was only one season.
Those were great jerseys too, because they were black with the orange font.
Yeah, and what's cool now is I actually made it into a reversible jersey where I have Sarge on the back. So instead of Josh Jackson, it says Sarge, because number 20, that's my favorite jersey right now.
And when they don't re-sign him as a restricted free agent, you're going to have to take that duct tape off and put whoever the new number 20 is on, right?
Exactly. Yep. Saves me a lot of money.
I probably think my favorite Suns jersey is the one hanging behind me. It's a Steve Nash, but it's like the 1988 Wild West purple. I really like those jerseys. I think they just look so clean. Whenever you see those in throwbacks, they're just beautiful looking jerseys. I think that, Charles Barkley, I saw a picture of him wearing one once, and I fell in love with those jerseys. So, that's all I really got on jerseys.
Yeah, they're perfect. Yeah. It's like we're running out of topics kind of in this little mini off season going on.
Yeah, but, another thing we could talk about, though, man, is potential free agents. You're starting to see a lot of guys have rumors swirl around them. You're starting to see guys who are potential restricted free agents or player option guys optioning out. And I think one of the biggest names that I didn't really think was going to happen was from the Denver Nuggets. Jeremy Grant is somebody who's expected to opt out and test free agency via Bleacher Report. He's somebody that we've definitely talked about in the past that we would like to target. What do you think the odds are of the Suns making a run at him? And is he somebody who has priced himself out of the market with his performance in the bubble?
I would say he had to have priced himself out a little bit just because he was getting double teamed a lot. And once you're starting to get double teamed, really, that's kind of a notice for fans and for players and for teams to really just take notice of the player. So, I mean, he was getting paid $9 million last year. So what the hell is he going to get this year? I mean, his numbers aren't always too great, but he's just that hustle guy. He can take it to the rim. He can finish monstrous dunks, come out of nowhere. And honestly, he can hit the three. He's only 33% from three, but honestly, he can spread the floor more than you could think. He's a great defender. I think he's really good defense. But honestly, dude, I don't know. It's a question of, do I want him or do I want someone like Herro? Do I want Herro from the Clippers? I feel like they're going to get the same amount of money. So would I rather have the backup center to come in and give us that positive energy like Herro does, or else Jeremy Grant? Do I get Jeremy Grant? I'm not going to pay him, but do we get Jeremy Grant on this team?
Jersey right now, you can't
paying the same amount of money. I'm really iffy on this guy, but I'm a big fan. I'm actually a really big fan. I thought he did really great in the bubble, but everyone took notice, so he's going to get overpaid. What do you think? You want this guy on our team? I think he's a great player.
I do like Jeremy Grant. It's tough after his performance to see if he'll end up being on the Phoenix Suns or if we even pursue him. And that's going to be the thing that I'm going to find really interesting as we go into free agency, whenever that begins. We know that the draft is November 18th. I don't know when free agency is going to be, but when you start to hear the Suns name linked to different free agents, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of traction occurs and if we have the opportunity to actually truly bring them here, because it's really going to let you know a lot about our culture and what Monty Williams and James Jones have built. Have we built that culture that guys are gravitating to and saying, yeah, you know what, I do want to be a part of that.
Yep.
Maybe I won't make $17 million a year. I'll make $15 million for 2 years with them, but I want to be part of something special. So that's what's going to be interesting when it comes to names like Jeremy Grant. He's somebody, if I had to choose between the Suns pursuing him or Montrezl Harrell, I'm all for Montrezl Harrell. I think he fits what we need better. I think we still have Kelly Oubre. We still have Mikal Bridges. We have long wings. I've said it before, you can never have too many wings in the NBA, but we don't have a backup potentially for DeAndre Ayton at this point because Aaron Baines is gone. So, I mean, we got to make a run at Herro versus going after Jeremy Grant, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, quick question. Would you rather have Grant or would you rather have Saric be our backup for going into next year?
Grant.
Between the two. Grant? Okay.
Grant. I love Saric. I love his hustle. But if you want to go from a pure talent and athleticism standpoint in the modern NBA, I mean, Jeremy Grant's an easy one.
Yes.
Raymond Gonzalez says Christian Wood. There's a guy who's priced himself out of our market. I truly believe that.
I think so too. Oh man, it's tough though. I mean, it'd be such a great
I wish
asset.
it wasn't the case.
You know what I'm going to do every podcast is I'm going to love Christian Wood, and then the next one I'll be like, no, I don't want that dude. So I'm going to be such a flip-flopper on that dude. Because I feel like last time I was like, I don't remember what I said a week ago. So anyways, who we got next? Isn't there someone else that wants a trade?
Well, yeah, you have Victor Oladipo. He wants a trade, but it won't be easy. And that comes from Hoops Habit. And that's where, when you mentioned a little bit earlier talking about point book, Victor Oladipo is somebody who I would really like the Suns to pursue if the price is right again. I mean, it depends on how many assets you have to give up for him, because he is somebody who's coming off a pretty significant injury. The past 2 seasons, he's been really injured, but he's somebody who could play point and intermittently with Book. He's a little bit smaller. He could run the point, for X amount of possessions, and then it could flip to Book, and you can kind of have that. I wouldn't say James Harden, Russell Westbrook-esque, but it'd be more of like a Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum kind of backcourt. So he's somebody who's definitely enticing to me. Having somebody like him or Bradley Beal on the Suns, I was talking to somebody a couple days ago about Victor Oladipo, and they're like, yeah, classic Suns, go get another guy of the same position. I'm like, no, but you can do that in the NBA now. You don't need somebody who's defined as a point guard. If you have 2 fantastic scorers like those guys, I think it really excels your chances to win games, don't you?
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. And the first thing I thought about with him wanting out of Indiana was like, why? Why would you want out of there? Is it Brogdon? I was thinking maybe he wants to take on the point guard role more. Maybe he wants to be the guy that facilitates. I mean, he's never really gotten over 5 assists per game. So when you're thinking about that, you're just like, okay, so he's going to play besides point Book. Maybe that's something that's going to happen if we end up getting him. But I just don't understand why he wants out of Indiana. But if he were to play on the Suns, I think you can play him. The thing is, I feel like if we ended up getting him and still had Rubio, just say that happened, Rubio would probably end up just coming off the bench, right? Because I don't think
that's an expensive guy coming off the bench.
I know exactly, man. So it's tough. And like you're saying, you can't really think too much about who's starting in your starting lineup for size and all that in today's NBA. You really can't. But honestly, if you have him coming in off the bench, Ricky Rubio coming off the bench, and Oladipo, I don't know. It's tough, dude, because my voice cracked a little bit right there, so I tried to ignore it.
You got excited.
God damn it. I almost got through a whole pod without it happening.
What?
So, what was I saying? Never mind.
Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Why not? There we go. Next. I agree with what you're saying, though. I agree 110% with what you're saying. God, I wish that we disagreed more, but unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it goes. The last guy, I'm not even going to talk about Aaron Gordon.
How many times we got to talk about Aaron Gordon?
Yeah, the Orlando Magic are trying to explore potential trades for Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac. Not going to happen. This is something that I think I saw on Bleacher Report. It's got to be wrong because Jonathan Isaac's going to be out for like a year, poor guy, with his knee injury.
I know that sucks. I love that guy.
I do too, man. I'm a big fan of his. And Aaron Gordon, I like him too, but I don't know. I'm just tired of talking about him.
I know, but he's just that player where it's like Orlando kind of wants to get rid of him, and then a lot of teams see like, okay, well, if you use him at this position, do this and that with his athleticism, all of that, what a great ad. But then the Orlando fans are kind of like, yeah, just take him, get him out of here, because it's not working out. That's the way it is with him. But Isaac, honestly, if we were to trade nothing for him and then him come back later next season at the end of the season, I'm all for that, because I think this guy is going to turn into something great. Not great, but he'll be a good player.
Yeah, you need
I got to stop myself a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, get away from the greatness and just stick with. You know what? He'd be a good role player, because that's what the Suns are really in need of. We need another superstar next to Devin Booker, absolutely, but you have to continue to have role players around him, and that's what we have right now, and it's actually kind of working out for the Suns. So, do you want to hit the our thoughts segment?
Let's do it.
Thoughts. Brains?
Okay, I feel bad because this isn't technically my thought, but this is something that I saw on First Take this morning. And Stephen A. Smith was saying how LeBron's legacy will take a devastating hit if he loses to the Heat in the NBA Finals. Now, the game just ended. They killed him, whatever. It looks like Bam Adebayo left with a shoulder injury and Goran left with a foot injury. So that could definitely hurt the Heat's chances. But going back to Stephen A's initial statement pertaining to LeBron's legacy taking a devastating hit if he loses to the Heat in the NBA Finals, what are your thoughts?
I think he would just remain the same kind of player right now, just where he's right behind Michael Jordan. Honestly, if he doesn't win another Finals, listen. If he doesn't win another Finals, he'll be right behind Michael Jordan as one of the best players to ever play the game. If he wins this one and the next one, and then maybe gets another one later down the line where he's still in the NBA in 10 years.
When he's 48.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's weird because I feel like once they win this, and this is how it happens with the Heat and all teams that have such a great run, an injury hits and another injury, and then the team just falls apart. And I was so worried about that happening, and it feels like sounds like that's what's gonna happen. But poor Heat. But honestly, for LeBron, dude, I feel like it doesn't hurt it if he loses this series. If it goes to 7, they lose. I don't feel like it hurts. But honestly, when you got 2 of the top 3 players, to me, it would definitely take a drop. I honestly wouldn't think he would be any closer to Jordan at all. But if he wins this championship, do you think it makes him any closer to MJ at all? A little bit?
No.
Maybe? No. Okay.
Nope. I don't. I respect LeBron. I always will, but he will never catch MJ when it comes to, the greatness, in quotations, kind of the GOAT, if you will. It does, and that's what's unfortunate for LeBron is as much effort as he puts in, as many championships as he could potentially still win in his career. He could win 5 more potentially, and maybe then when he's 6-6 in NBA Finals or 7-6 in total NBA Finals, you'd have to go, okay, yeah, this guy is the greatest of all time. But the odds are so stacked against him, and then if you lose to a Miami team. And someone said in the chat, Lakers ain't losing. Yeah, they probably won't now that everybody's injured on the Heat. But they're just the better team. Matthew's been saying it all year. They have 2 of the best 3 players in the NBA right now on the same team, and I think that's another reason why I think that they're just not going to win. Yeah. Or I think that. Sorry, I like burp there. Beer, man. It's the beer.
Nah,
I was like, no, but I think it's one of the reasons that LeBron can never truly be one of the greatest of all time is because he's had to sit there, and try to put together these super teams around him. And granted, they get hurt and they get injured, and these are reasons why they end up losing because he can't carry. It's him plus 2 stars plus a lot of shitty players. Because when you have to pay 2 stars as much as you do, guess what's left? A minimal payroll and a lot of shitty players. So when Kevin Love hurts a shoulder and is out for an entire NBA Finals, when Kyrie Irving gets hurt and he's out in an entire NBA Finals, he has to literally put them on his back and try to win. And guess what? He can't. Whereas you look at Michael Jordan, he was on a team where he was the primary player who was being paid. Scottie Pippen was never getting paid the proper amount of money. Okay, so he lucked out in having Scottie next to him, but Scottie was drafted there. He didn't say, hey, come to Chicago, everybody. Everybody should come to Chicago. Help me win. Or he's like, I'm going to New York now. I'm going to L.A. now.
Oh. We're doing this LeBron MJ does out of nowhere. We got caught in the tornado. That's what happens.
But we're talking about LeBron's legacy, though. And I know that you're very pro LeBron because that's who you've grown up watching. And I'm somebody who grew up watching MJ. And it's like, it's not even close to me. Like, it's not even close. Like, Bill Russell is more of a GOAT than LeBron. Look at his finals record. Look at how he, and everyone will say, sign of the times. He played against a bunch of white guys, this, that, the other. You know what? LeBron is a sign of his times. Jordan's a sign of his times. I think what's the stats on Bill Russell? He went to 11 finals. He won 8 of them. League 6 and league MVP. I mean, it's ridiculous, and nobody even talks about it. It's always LeBron because he pushes that narrative.
Yeah, definitely, dude. But what's really weird that caught my eye this year is LeBron kind of went the opposite way of getting to the finals to where he was playing in the West, playing the hardest teams, getting to the finals, and now he's playing a simpler team where before he used to go through the East like nothing, just like dust, just kill them all. That's basically the way it was in the playoffs leading up to the finals and then playing the harder team. So it's kind of opposite, right? I just think that's kind of weird. That's just how it works in the West. Once you get through the West, you have an easier opponent. And I'm not saying the Heat are that easy, but come on, compared to a lot of the West teams, that they probably are, but they honestly, now they're getting injured, but they have that fight in them. I'm still not counting them out. Even if Dragic is out, even if Bam Adebayo comes back, it may be game 4. I'm not counting the Heat out at all.
No, I'm not counting them out because I just think that they're a very well-coached team and they're a system team. And they have 3-pointers or guys who can shoot 3-pointers. And I think that part of it was, at least the first half when I was watching the game before the blowout really started happening, was the fact that these guys just weren't confident in their shot yet. The moment's big for them, for sure. It might not be a full arena with fans yelling at you in LA, but it's the NBA Finals. There's a different logo on the court for the first time in 3 months when these guys are playing. So it's definitely different. When you look up at the screen, there's fucking President Barack Obama, sitting next to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to Shaq. I mean, there's you look around and Yeah, the royalty that's watching you play. So it's a big moment. So I think that
it definitely is.
It might have got to him a little bit in game one. We'll see how the series goes. I love the NBA Finals for this reason. And I do think that's a valid question. If LeBron does lose this, it definitely gives him yet another notch on reasons why he's not the GOAT. He's the guy who he can get to the finals and he just can't get it done. He can't win.
Yeah.
And you know the reason they won tonight? Fucking Anthony Davis, because the guy he recruited since he was 17 years old played like a fucking monster. And that's what they need for that to occur consistently.
Exactly. Well, if he wins these next 2 championships, he'll probably be the greatest of all time. So
yeah, okay. Agree to disagree. See, there's something we found to disagree on.
Always. This
all
debate
right.
next week.
Yes. We'll do the same one next week. Yeah, too easy because we just like to do it. Whenever we start agreeing too much, we'll just have the LeBron MJ debate, and then we'll just go at each other's throats because you're wrong, motherfucker. All right. Next segment is one of our favorites. It's
Dumb Trade of the Week.
All right, we had 2 of these last week, so we decided to just do one last week and one this week. This is coming from Bleacher Report, and they say this is the best trade every NBA team can actually make this offseason. And they said this is the trade. Phoenix Suns acquire $17.2 million in trade exception and the number 2 pick in the 2020 draft from the Golden State Warriors for Kelly Oubre Jr. and the number 10 pick in the 2020 draft. So essentially what we're doing is we're shipping our number 10 pick and Kelly Oubre to the Golden State Warriors for the number 2 overall pick. Is this trade just dumb, Matthew?
It's pretty dumb, dude. And honestly, the biggest thing for me is I don't want to see Kelly Oubre on the Warriors team. Like, there's certain teams you don't want to see these players play on if we do trade them, like the Warriors, the Spurs, some other team I hate. You know, that's just the way it is. That's the
Lakers.
The Lakers. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, no, for sure. If he played on if we traded Kelly Oubre to the Lakers, that would suck, dude. Because I don't want to see him play on the Lakers.
Yeah. Blowing kisses to us.
Dude, yeah, that would be atrocious. And he'd probably win the finals next year with LeBron, which is going to happen if he goes to that team. But I don't like this. This is actually a dumb trade because I know the last 2 I kind of agreed on, but this one, I'm going to say it's a dumb trade. I'm going to stamp that one.
Yes.
Dumb trade of the week.
Boom. Stamped, signed, approved by @MatthewLissy on Twitter. Gotta love it. I completely agree. Giving up our number 10 pick and Kelly Oubre Jr. for the number 2 overall pick makes no fucking sense whatsoever. And I can't believe that Bleacher Report said that this is the best trade that the Suns can make this offseason that we could actually make. Don't agree with it. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to give up our number 10 pick, which I think is a decent, don't get me wrong, it's a decent asset, but it's not something that I would like to trade up and get somebody for. I'd like to use it and package with maybe Kelly Oubre to get a veteran in here. James Jones is tired of these young guys, man. I think we all know that, okay? He's tired of the young guys. He wants to bring in guys who have some experience, and if they are drafted, they're 3 or 4 year guys. I mean, Ty Jerome, Cam Johnson, both 4-year guys. One of them won a national championship. You have Mikal Bridges, 2-time national champion. So these are guys who know how to feel out big moments and win in those big moments. So I think that this is our official
Dumb Trade of the Week.
Word. All right. You want to hit some mailbag there, Matthew?
Yep.
All right. Before we get out of here today, we'll hit some mailbag. As always, Suns Jamsters, you can send us your mailbag questions either via Twitter, via Facebook, or you can email us sunsjamsession@gmail.com, or you can visit sunsjamsession.com and fill out one of the forms there. So actually, one of our loyal listeners sent us to this one via Facebook, and I thought this would be an interesting one to kind of discuss. It says, I know the podcast is close to starting this week, but please, sometime would you please discuss what y'all think will happen with the salary cap for next year or 2 with COVID? Will there be an uncapped year, keep it at 2019/20 levels, or use the same formula previously used? Also, how could this potentially affect free agency? Love the show. And that is from Todd Jacobson. So, Matthew, you want to try to tackle that one?
Yeah. Are you related to Todd?
I am not.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you were.
His last name's Jacobson. My last name's Voida.
Yeah, you never know though. But honestly, this is a tough one just because you can see articles coming out about maybe losing 25 to 30 million this next upcoming offseason for teams. Honestly, I think what's going to happen is it's going to stay even. I think they're going to stay even this free agency to where next year they're going to make a lot of money because the new schedule where they're going to probably start playing the season right after Christmas, maybe New Year's Day. That's going to help a lot with the revenue. And I think it's going to go up next year. But this upcoming year, I just think it's going to stay even. I don't think they really lost too much money, right? Just because they got right back at it. They didn't have any issues in the bubble. They're almost done. They almost played as many games as they did in the regular season, maybe short by 15 or so. So that's pretty good. But I think it's going to stay even, though. I mean, what do you think? This is just a little hard to handle.
Yeah. Well, I'm not an accountant, so I can't, sit there and tell you exactly what's going to occur. But I do know this. Before the NBA Finals Game 1, Adam Silver had the State of the League press conference and discussed this a little bit. Somebody asked about the salary cap, how it's going to affect, kind of along the same lines as our listener Todd did. And essentially what Adam Silver said is, he said, listen, we're going to operate outside of the collective bargaining agreement, because if we were to operate within the confines of the collective bargaining agreement, kind of across the board, the players and the salary cap would drop drastically because of revenue brought in by the league, fans being a major part of that. You look at the current salary cap for this past season is $109 million per team, right? It was projected to be 117 next year. Previous year was 101 million. Previous year was 99. Previous year was 95. So it's kind of been going up in about $3 to $5 million increments over the past 4 or 5 seasons, following that big TV deal that happened in 2016. Before that, the cap was 70 million. 16 and 17 it became 94 million. So that was huge. The rights to showing all the games, things of that nature, ESPN, TNT, with Turner and everything. So they jumped the revenue sharing there. So long story short, I kind of agree with you. I think that they're going to either cap it at what it's at. They have to cap it at what it's at right now.
Yeah.
Because if you operate within the confines of the collective bargaining agreement, you're going to have a third of the league that becomes free agents, and then teams that don't have the ability to provide those guys salary. So essentially they'd get screwed. So you'd have people like Dario Saric become a free agent, and he can't get signed anywhere because, or at least an expected salary, we get him for $2 million. It would be chaos to the free agency system. So I think that what they'll do is they'll announce these things probably a little bit after the draft is what I think Adam Silver says they normally do. He says it's probably just going to be status quo. They'll probably operate under the same salary cap. And I think that that's how it's going to affect next season. When you look, though, at potential free agents, it's going to affect a lot of the contracts, I feel. You're going to have guys who are going to come. They're going to sign 1-year deals. We talk about Jeremy Grant. We talk about Montrezl Harrell. Those are guys we could probably bring in here, maybe get them for like $10 million a year. If they want to be a part of this organization, they might go, you know what? I'll go play in Phoenix, $10 million 1 year. Because they want to wait until everything kind of sets, the market sets itself and has an opportunity to create growth again. And then they can get that cash in, if you will. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. And honestly, if it wasn't 1 year, I feel like just these guys are just doing 2-year deals now. And I'm not just talking about Leo and Gio over over at the Clippers. But honestly, I think that the 2-year thing is just good because the market's I feel like after this year, it's going to keep going up and up and up with the new schedule. So just take those little deals, guys. You're going to get paid a lot more money down the line.
Yep. Agreed. All right. We had a question come in via Twitter. This is at Dahop8 Shilpa. It says, can Mikal Bridges become similar to Jimmy Buckets? Matthew? Answer the question.
Honestly, I don't really see that, dude. So Mikal Bridges is a lot more lengthy. He's not as coordinated as what Jimmy Buckets is, and he doesn't have as good as a jump shot. I mean, maybe he can turn into someone like him, but he just is a totally different player than what I feel like Jimmy Butler is. Honestly, right at the bat, when you just look at the way they look, how are they any similar? Do you think they're any similar at all?
Well, I think from a defensive standpoint, you look at Jimmy Butler early in his career, and he was a little more lengthy. He definitely worked hard on his body to get it to be as physical as it is. But you'd hit the nail on the head, as you typically do. Yes. You are a carpenter, my friend. He's a lot more coordinated with the ball than Mikal Bridges is. I think Mikal Bridges is, again, the unicorn that we're trying to figure out an NBA comp for, because we really can't. He's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He has, Pascal Siakam, or is it Jimmy Butler? Or is, we're trying to figure out, is it Sean Marion? What is this guy that's on our team? And the answer is he's Mikal Bridges. He's somebody who can play really good defense. He's somebody who's really long and is starting to kind of understand that he's long. You see it when he takes the ball to the basket, he puts it up to lay the ball in. He's like, oh shit, the defender's going for the block and missing it by 6 inches because I'm so long. So he's still trying to figure out who he is as an offensive player. When you look defensively, I can see that's perhaps where at Dahape Shilpa maybe looking, hey, this guy is a defensive player. Jimmy Buckets is a good defensive, wing. Perhaps that's where an NBA comp is. So I can see where he's coming from. I don't think that is what his NBA comp is, because there is no true NBA comp to Mikal Bridges, man. He's a fucking unicorn.
His ceiling, though, when you're thinking about it, I mean, he can be like the third team all NBA. He can be the all defensive player of the year, all of that stuff, where I think Jimmy Butler is kind of that guy. So yeah, when you bring it that way, but just what he's going to bring to the team, I think, is just so opposite. No one is Mikal. No one's as long as Mikal. If you see that dude's arms, like, no one's the way he is. So it's just, that's why it just caught me off guard a little bit. But good question. I feel like sometimes I have to agree with these people just to keep them around. But you know what? That fan has been around for a while, so I'm not going to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, no, he's a very, very loyal listener and contributes regularly to the mailbag. So we truly appreciate it. Everyone who's listening, whether you're watching or you're listening, we truly appreciate you coming to spend a little bit of time. Even in the off season, you love your Suns as much as we do. You still want to talk about it. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Matthew and I do this podcast. We love our Suns, man. We love talking Suns. We love trying to figure out what the fuck they're going to do. We like winning. We we hate losing. And we're here to share all those emotions with you. Even if I burp when I talk. For that, I'm sorry.
And even if my voice cracks, just one time a pod. That's what I'm keeping to.
Yeah, no.
Day keeps it one crack a day. Keeps it.
Yeah, twice. It's got to be your bowl, right? What else you got going on, Matthew?
Oh, what I got going on?
As we wind down this episode of the Suns Jam Session podcast.
I'm going to tell you a story about me going to the dentist. So I haven't been to the dentist in about, I'm going to spill the beans. This is how long it's been. 6 or 7 years. It's been
no wonder your voice cracked.
No, my teeth are perfect. Nothing is wrong with them. We had x-rays. They're like, wow, your teeth are fantastic. Nothing. And I just got a cleaning. That's it. And I was so nervous to go. I'm like, they're going to find like 4 or 5 cavities. Nope, nothing. Perfect. So it had me thinking, I'm like, when you just don't take your car into like to the auto body shop, you take it in once. You're going to go back at least every month or every month after that. That's the way it is. Same thing with a dentist. Don't go. Just stay away. You won't have any issues. Just floss and brush your teeth. If anybody's still listening,
that's what I learned. Advice.
That is my advice.
Ooh, that's a good segment. What did you learn this week? I like that. I don't have anything to add. I didn't learn anything. I learned that you went to the dentist, so I guess that's good. No.
John, what are you up to? What have you been up to for the past week? Oh, you won your fantasy baseball league, right? The one I'm in.
Thank you. Yes, I came in third in our big money league, and I won the championship in the keeper league. So all my fantasy football is paid for, and I still made money on top of that too, which is fantastic.
That's great.
And then in 4 fantasy football leagues, I'm one of those guys. I play a ton of fantasy football. In 4 leagues, I'm 1-2-1 and 3-0 in the others. So it's been a good start.
Do you know what's worse than going to the dentist?
0-3 start.
No,
suck.
Listening to someone talk about their fantasy football and baseball team.
You done got me good there. Yeah, nobody cares. This is where everybody logs off, and they're like, "Yeah, nobody cares about your fantasy success or failures. How about I share my lineup with you? Check this out. I got Lamar Jackson in the third
start this week.
I don't know. Just wait. I can't wait for fantasy basketball to come back around because we're going to do the Suns Jam Sessions podcast listener league,
20-team league.
Yes, 20-team league. It's going to be insane. We're all going to take Suns, and we're all going to be screwed because I'm going to be starting Elie Okobo because I have to have a part of the Phoenix Suns. No, other than that, just work, man. Tis the season. Tomorrow's October. I mean,
it is beautiful October. The best month of the year.
The best month of the year. And there's multiple reasons for it being the best month. One, in Arizona, we're the furthest away from 115 degrees as possible, which is fantastic. 2, we have MLB playoffs are going on, which is great. 3, football's going on, which is great. 4, this year, you have the NBA Finals, which is great. I mean, we're getting everything kind of all at once. It's almost an overload of sports day in and day out.
It is.
And then, of course, Halloween is an awesome holiday, although it's probably going to be very, very different this year. And then, of course, my birthday's in October. So if you guys want to buy me a Devin Booker jersey, I'm not opposed to it. But that's all I got for this week. You got anything else, Matthew?
No. All I got to say is go home and love your family.
Amen. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day.